So in today's section, we will discuss about nutritional and food requirements for school children. Those who have the new textbook, it's on page number 115. Those who have the old textbook, it's on page number 117. If anyone is joining late, please help them out with the page numbers. We'll discuss certain differences also between what is given in the old textbook and the new textbook. Change that has come across in the diet plan or the requirements of the RD requirements of school children over the past 10 years. So in the old textbook, the requirements were given by the year 2010 ICMR data based on the ICMR data of 2010. In the new textbook, you find the ICMR data of 2020. That's the most recent one. Okay. We'll discuss both. We'll see what specific changes have come in major nutrients. Okay, not all, but only the major nutrients from this particular age group's point of view. There are certain macros and micros we have to be specific about. Okay, so we'll just discuss on that. So, in school children, a yearly growth of around 6 to 7 centimeter in height must be seen, and every year the child has to put on at least 1.5 to 3 kg in weight. Okay, this the school age is between 6 to 12. After 12, we consider them as adolescent teenagers. Okay, teenagers have growth spurt and all. We will discuss that later when we come to the adolescents requirement. But for school age, when we talk about school children, we put the category from 6 years to 12 years of age. After that, it is adolescence. We have various other requirements and guidelines for adolescent nutrition. So adolescent spurt may take place nowadays. It is much younger. Okay, sometimes it takes place as for kids as young as girls as young as 8-year-old also. But in the recent few decades, the adolescent spurt, that is a growth spurt, have come down to 10 to 12 years. Majority of the growth spurt for adolescent girls takes place here. For boys, it could be later as well. It could be 13, 14, 15 or so. Okay, for girls, the age has come down. Nutritional requirements. Calories about the age group of 7 to 9. In the old textbook, they have given 1690 kilocalories. But in the new textbook, it is almost same. It is 1700, just 10 calories different. Okay. In the old textbook for boys and girls above the age of 9, 2190 kilocalories for boys, 2010 kilocalories for girls. It is almost very similar. In new textbook, you will find it is 2220 kilocalories for boys and 2060 kilocalories for girls. Okay, very similar. It is almost very similar. You can just take it as for boys and girls, 2100 or 2200 kilocalories is still enough. It won't do any harm. Fat, that is visible fat. According to the old textbook, it is around 30 and 35, 30 gram for 7 to 9 years old and 35 gram for an older child, about 9 child. In your new textbook, they have not mentioned about the fat, visible fat in the table, but we will discuss that later. Around 25% of the energy should come from visible fat. So 25 to 35 gram is still okay. But 35 gram and all, still for the children who are active, they take part in physical activities, they take part in contact sports, in their extracurricular activities, gymnast, dancing. Okay, for such kind of schedule for a child, in that case, 35 gram of fat, visible fat per day is fine. Otherwise, if the child is much more laid back, 25 gram is fine. Okay, it completely depends on the scheduling of the child, how many tuition classes or extracurricular activities the child indulges in within that 24 hours on an average. Okay, so based on that, the visible fat intake should be more. No, you don't have to remember all this from the exam point of view. From practical point of view, you will have to remember this. Okay. Calcium in your old textbook, it is 600 gram 600 microgram for 7 to 9-year-old and 800 for above 9. 50-gram change has come. Okay, just 50-gram. You have ICMR has added more 50 microgram into this rate. Okay, 7 to 9 is 650 now, and above 9 it is 850 calcium. Iron requirement has slightly increased for girls. It is 28 mg for girls right now, and for boys it has decreased. Okay, boys it has become 16 mg. Okay, the point which we have mentioned on the slide is based on the old textbook. It is 21 mg in the previous data, but now it is just 16 mg for boys, 28 mg for girls on a daily basis. Vitamins, it's as equal to, almost as equal to adult RDA. Okay, so you don't have to by heart any one of this, but yeah, calcium, fat, calories. Okay, please maintain that. Protein as well. Protein also, they have reduced the protein intake as compared to the previous ICMR data. The present one, they have reduced the protein intake. In previous data, they had given around 29.5 gram of protein on a daily basis, 39.9 gram of protein for boys, and 40 gram of protein for girls. Okay, that was the old data, but it has come down. The amount has dropped in the recent data, in which 23 is enough for 7 to 9-year-old children, girls and boys both. 32 gram on a daily basis for boys is enough. 33 gram for girls is enough. Okay. So yeah, calories, fat, calcium, iron, protein. These are the important aspects for school because the growth rate is quite high in this particular age group. These factors should be kept in mind. Fiber. There is a formula that the old textbook uses, but in the new textbook, they have not mentioned it. Okay. In the old textbook, whatever is the age of the child, just add 5 gram to it. That is the amount of fiber. For example, if you are dealing with a 11-year-old, okay, 11-year-old boy or girl, what would be the fiber on a daily basis the child has to take? At least minimum this much the child has to take. So if it is 11-year-old, it's 16 grams. So this formula is based, they have mentioned it in the old textbook. In the new textbook, they have not mentioned such formulas. They have directly given the value, which is 33 gram for 33 gram for boys and 30 gram for girls. That's what you have to maintain. Okay, so fiber intake has increased. So now you do not have to depend on the age of the child. At least you have to maintain they are taking 30 grams of fiber on a daily basis, girls or boys. Because 3-gram difference is there between girls and boys. That is not an issue. Okay, that could be, you can forego that particular information, but maintain at least 30 gram of fiber for boys and girls both. Coming to the food requirements. Naturally, there is an increase in appetite, specifically when the steady growth is achieved. Energy requirement is also increased. The child is concentrating more, focused more in school. There's a lot of extracurricular activities going on, playing around with their peers, with their classmates. Okay, so a lot of energy is consumed. So naturally, there will be an increase in appetite as compared to preschoolers. Okay, as compared to children who are up to the age of 6, school children have a naturally higher appetite. And this is also an age group in which early signs of eating disorders may start to appear, specifically in girls. Okay, exposure to social media, exposure to entertainment industry. Okay, watching other teenage stars or young actresses. Okay, they also may have self body image. They become conscious about the self body image and they try to not eat food. They go on aggressive diet, okay, crash diet and all. So this early signs of eating disorders is very common in girls. It is nowadays, it is prevalent in boys as well. Anorexia is not just a girl's issue. It can happen in boys as well. All the basic 5 food groups. Can you name them? What are the 5 basic food groups? Not the new students, the previous batch students or the students who are attending the classes since few days, since few weeks. Cereals are one group, yes. Pulses, fat, cereals, pulses and legumes will come under a single food group. Vegetables and fruits are in a single food group. Milk and dairy products, another food group. Fat and sugar comes in one food group, yes. Cereals and all the grains, millets, everything is one food group. Pulses and legumes in another food group. Milk, dairy products, and all the meat, protein based, okay? That will come. Animal based protein is a separately different, it's a separate food group. Fruits and vegetables in a single food group, and fats and sugar is the fifth food group. Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats will not come here, okay? The carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, these are macronutrients, okay? When we talk about food groups, these are a balanced diet should have all these 5 basic food groups. So even in school children's menu plan, all these 5 basic food groups should be included in breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Family meals should be encouraged, okay? And even during family meals, it is a foundation of a very helpful choices. Children learn from their parents eating patterns, okay? What is the pattern? What is the pattern followed in the home? If parents have a healthy eating pattern, that is what the child will also mimic while growing up. They get used to it. They get accustomed to their eating habits, staple food, okay, local food. So the parents have to focus a lot on what they are serving on the dinner table, okay, on the dining table during family meals. Family meals has to be encouraged because early morning, lunchtime, and all, children are going to school. They have their own meal with their friends. Okay, parents may be busy, but at least dinner time when the entire family is together, at least one family meal per day has to be encouraged. And for controlling the weight of the family members should also focus on portion, okay, on the portion size. Just because a child is eating more does not mean that the child is hungry. You have to control the portion size of the children as well. Watching TV and having dinner, using smartphones and having dinner, these kind of habits has to be curbed from the parents' side as well, okay, because children learn from their parents. They look at what the parents are doing and they mimic that. And TVs, mobile phones, it has to be switched off, and the parents to teach the child to be focused and to be aware of what they are eating. Okay, focus should be on the plate, trying to finish what they eat, and also parents has to focus what the child eats more, and which food group the child is not touching, not eating, or avoids. Okay. Breakfast is important specifically for growing children, okay. At least in every breakfast, some or the other dairy component or milk component should be added. uh, Usually we say at least 2 to 3 glasses of milk should be taken by school children. Only then they can keep up with their calcium requirement, calcium and phosphorus requirement. So it prepares if the child is skipping breakfast, the child will lack energy, and when they go to school, they will lack focus as well. So skipping breakfast will not just affect their health, but it will also affect their academic performance as well. So that's the reason why eating breakfast is quite important, and it should be made as a healthy habit. How much ever late a child is getting, early to wake up, eating the breakfast should be made into a habit for children. And again, in breakfast also, as much as possible, try to add all the 5 food groups, if not pulses and legumes, but at least milk, protein, cereals, okay, fruits, vegetables, fresh fruits and vegetables in the breakfast can also be given. And again, it's not enough for children just to have a glass of milk and then go to school. Usually, that's what happens in most of the households. They give a glass of milk to the child and then they're left to then they leave for the school. So that is not adequate. That is not enough. Just a glass of milk is not enough to keep the child focused in school. Porridges are easy. Porridges are easy to make. Okay, any form of porridges, ragi porridge, oats porridge. Okay, these are easy to make, and they are very fulfilling as well. Idlis and rotis are also preferred. Dosas, idlis, okay, this can be given. Eggs, if you are an vegetarian, okay, lacto-vegetarian, try to include eggs in breakfast also. and give them a mix of low and high glycemic index food. High glycemic index food will make them attracted towards the food. They will look forward for the breakfast, and low glycemic index food will keep them satiated for a pretty long time. Because after having breakfast, if the child goes to the school, the child has to stay put and focus till it is the recess time, or till it's a lunch break or brunch break. There are certain benefits of eating breakfast: improved cognitive function and academic performance in the school, because focus does not go away because of tiredness or hunger. Improved school attendance, improved nutrient profile, deficiencies can be avoided in early childhood. Reduced body mass index, the child's BMI will be under control since the childhood, so the child will not have the risk of obesity or weight-related issues in the adulthood. Improvement in psychosocial well-being, discipline, and social behavior. That psychosocial behavior is not just attributed to healthy breakfast. Some children who suffer from ADHD and such kind of disorders, they will have to take certain lifestyle changes, certain medications as well. Less aggression and fewer suspensions are also seen in children who consume breakfast on a regular basis. And also in the state of Tamil Nadu, along with midday, Tamil Nadu was a state who introduced midday meal program in India. Now, along with midday meal program, they have introduced giving breakfast to children in school as well. Okay, so that's a fact. Coming to the dietary guidelines, 2 to 3 glasses of milk or curd. 2 glasses of milk morning and evening can be given, and when the child comes back from school and has lunch at home, curd, buttermilk can be given. Okay, so this will compensate the requirement of calcium. Snack tracking has to be done, which means the parents should be aware of what all snacks they have at home and where they have kept it, because during the school, this particular age group, okay, they are very curious, they are very notorious in finding out hidden snacks and eating them and skipping their main meals. Okay, this particular age group, that they can climb up, they are growing in height, they can climb up the kitchen shelves and everything, and they can they can hunt for snacks, sweets, and everything. They can fill their tummies with that and skip the meals completely. So snack tracking, have a track of what all snacks you buy at home, where is it kept, and how much snacks is going missing. Okay, that's what we call as snack tracking, that the parents has to be aware of. Variety, color, and texture should be included in the child's meal, all the five meals, because it will feel attractive at least up till the age of 10. If you're adding more variety, color, and texture, the child will look forward for all the meals. After the child grows to a specific age, they are not much bothered by the variety, color, and texture of the food. If the child does not like salads or vegetables, okay, it can be incorporated in sandwiches, smoothies, okay, or you can make mixed grain porridges, in which you can add the paste of the boiled vegetables. Okay, smash the vegetables into the favorite food. So usually kids prefer potatoes and all. So it's very common. So add the puree of other vegetables as a gravy. Okay, boil and make the puree of other vegetables as a gravy, and add it into the potato curries, whatever you prefer. So in that way, the child is having majority of the vegetables as well. Snacks and food that you give to the child as soon as they return from the school, that is a negative habit. Do not put them into a habit of having some snacks as soon as they come from school, because when they come from school, they are really hungry, and what you feed them will be more beneficial to them. Okay, so in form of lunch, give them the meal. After meal, just to pacify some of their sweet tooth or some cravings and all, you can just give them a little bit of snack later or during tea time and all. In hot weather, try to add more liquids and salts in their food. And children have a very varying appetite, so they always prefer some sort of snacky meals at frequent intervals. Sometimes they may have tantrum to go to McD, KFC, or such places. So reduce it to at least once a month or twice a month, not more than that. And children also tend to get bored with food easily. So don't be monotonous. Try to add some different recipe on a weekly basis. If you're repeating the recipe, that is fine. But on a daily basis, don't repeat the recipes. Plant food, that is, if you have a kitchen garden, or even if you are living in apartment complexes and flats, try to add small kitchen plantations and gardens in the balconies. Encourage the child to be a participant in planting food, okay, at home itself. In school, definitely school garden is there. It's a part of the school's curriculum to make sure that the children participate in planting food, not just food-based plants, but also other plants has to be planted. Children are taught that in school curriculum, but at home also incorporate the same habit. So the child will be excited when the the planted food is ready to be utilized. The child will be excited to incorporate it in diet. Okay. Plan menu. While planning the menu, ask the child also what would they prefer. Whenever you're planning something for the entire week, make sure that you include the child also. It gives them a sense of being appreciated, being seen. Their likes and dislikes are being uh, are held into the menu planning. So ask the child what would they like to have. Is there something special that the mother needs to cook, or anyone who requires to cook for the child, and incorporate that also into your menu planning. Pre-portioning, you must have seen that in some of the videos when a tiffin box is prepared. Okay, a specific portion size is made for different kind of food groups. So this is pre-portioning. Do not dump everything on the child's plate at one go. Slowly, just you have to add small portions of different food items. Let the child finish it in one sitting. If the child wants something specific, let the child ask for it. Encourage the child to ask for what he or she likes to have more, or to have a repeated portion. Okay, so that is pre-portioning. Do not dump everything that a child is supposed to finish in one go. They may get agitated. They may get sensitive to looking at the huge amount of food that you have served on a platter. So do the pre-portioning. Give small portions of food, and then repeatedly, as soon as the child asks for a specific kind of food, repeatedly just go and add it more into the plate. That is what pre-portioning is. This is how pre-portioning looks like. Uh, for example, if you give this whole entire slice of bread, it may look quite big for the child, but it's the same amount of bread that they have cut into smaller triangles. Okay, so which do you think the child would prefer to eat, or the child feels like, okay, I can complete it? The child will feel confident to complete it. Is it the left image or the right side image? The right side image. Okay, so this is what we call as pre-portioning. Do not dump everything together. If it is a huge piece, or the size is quite big, cut it into smaller bite-sized pieces, so it is very easy for the child to finish it up. And some making certain healthful choices. There are certain points we will just list them out. So as children grow up, they become more independent about choosing their food, what is their favorite food. Okay, like every child, if you ask them the question, what's your favorite food, they will have an answer to it. Okay, so they have already made their choices. So they can try to make children incorporate some healthy food choices by being a role model. That is, if you buy too much of junk food, the child will definitely try to deviate towards more junk food. Okay, that will become their favorite food. Okay, make them plant vegetables or fruit trees, so the children will take pride in eating the food that they have grown. Okay, that is the reason why you have to plant food. Taking them to the farmers market or vegetable market, and when you're purchasing vegetables, ask the child, what do you want to buy? I can prepare this. We can prepare this particular recipe one day. Do you want me to buy this vegetable? Which vegetable do you want? What recipe do you have in the mind? which we can prepare in this week. So like that, conversation and communication should be incorporated. Allowing them to plan the dinner menu with the help of food guide pyramid. That is, food guide pyramid is your 5 food groups. Okay, and it is very convenient for children to learn the 5 food groups at the early age itself. And at least in dinner menu, this is the time where the children are at home, parents are also at home. Okay, a healthy communication regarding the food groups and all, it will impart good knowledge in children as well, and they will also feel accountable in putting their thoughts into what they should have to do, okay, or have in the dinner. Appreciating when the child makes a helpful choice. Okay, whenever the child is seen having salad, carrots, okay, giving them good points on that, appreciating their behavior will encourage more good behaviors. Nutritiously ready to eat snacks should be only stored at home, not the junk snacks. Coming to diet related problems, feeding problems. School children are more likely to have fatty foods in their life. Even from the school canteens, they tend to eat more fatty foods, fried foods. Okay, uh, fruits and vegetables and breakfast is not their first choice in majority of cases. We are not generalizing. In majority of the cases, so eating fruits, vegetables, okay, and breakfast is not the first choice of the child. So make sure with the right guidance and nutrition education, that is like spending dinner time with children and all, teaching them about food pyramid, making them choose vegetables for the week. Okay, the child will learn to prefer having healthy food such as milk, eggs, carrots, etc. Underweight issue. Many school children, they consume inadequate diet, so they are malnourished in some or the other way, or some or the other deficiency is always found in school children. Okay, so some parents are also ignorant towards this situation. Some parents are also ignorant towards this situation, and they also do not know what is the exact requirement of a growing children. So that could also push the child into malnutrition. When the child is kind of in a hurry to go to school, he or she may miss the breakfast. So in that case, if the child is also not carrying proper lunch, it will again put the child into a series of malnutrition. So even if there is a chance of child missing the breakfast, try to pack something more in the lunch. Okay, try to put a whole fruit or something into the bag of the child as well. The child can have it while on the in the school bus while going to the um, school. Okay, so such kind of finger fruits, healthy nutritious fruits, just hand the child that if the child is missing the breakfast, so that the nutrition can be compensated in some or the other. Then we have avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, ARFID. So it is an eating disorder seen in children. It's not just about picky eaters. Okay, uh, children who have this particular disorder will not eat even when they are hungry, and if they have their an extremely limited preferred foods, if it is not available, they will not eat at all. Okay, they have this specific tick that these they want a specific kind of food on a daily basis. If it is not present, they will not eat at all. Even if they are hungry, they will not eat at all. Okay, so again, a child who suffers from this particular eating disorder, they usually fail to meet their nutritional requirements and energy requirements. Their BMI will be quite low, and their some or the other form of deficiency and malnourishment, some degree of malnourishment is seen in children who suffer from this eating disorder. So these all are the symptoms on the screen. Whatever you see, these are the symptoms which are commonly associated with ARFID, avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. Significant weight loss, abdominal pain, fear of choking or vomiting. Usually, it is seen that previously, if a child had a specific food and it gave a choking scare to the child, okay, it got stuck in the child's throat and The child remembers, okay, child remembers the feeling of being choked by a food, and the child was taken to the emergency, or somebody had to give them that burps so that the whatever is obstructing the throat, it can come out. So it is kind of a traumatic experience for the child. Okay, so because of that previous experience, the child will now try to have everything in semi-solid state, liquid state, in a smooth paste state. This kind of food is what the child will prefer because of that trauma associated. Okay, so that is another situation. Yeah, we'll come to that. Fatigue is also seen, excess energy, cold intolerance, because when the child's nutrition and when the child is malnourished or the BMI is low, usually cold intolerance is seen in such children. There is no body image struggles like in case of anorexia. In case of anorexia, even if the child is extremely thin, the child will have this body image issue. Okay, there is no fear of weight gain. These are other form of eating disorders. The child will eat food only with particular textures like porridges that is easy to swallow. Okay, the child does not have a fear of choking on porridges, semi-liquid, liquid food. Okay, here the child should be motivated with counseling. Counseling is required. Okay, a counselor's help is also taken in some severe cases of avoidant restrictive intake food. Slowly the texture has to be changed, not immediately. Okay, slowly the child's food texture has to be changed. It can be brought from extremely liquid to semi solid, then solid. Like that, you have to taper it down. The use of liquids has to be tapered down slowly. Counseling is required. Okay, why the child is afraid of certain textures has to be addressed. Okay, constipation, this is usually because lack of fiber in diet. Even if you're giving fruits and vegetables, if the child does not eat it, does not like eating it, definitely the child will suffer from some mild to moderate degree of constipation is common. Usually every child will just require 3 basic small meals and 2 snacks on a daily basis. Okay, and when the child is in a hurry to go to school, and the child does not have proper sleep because of homework or inadequate sleep, not having a sound sleep, stress, even nowadays young children also suffer from some different forms of stress, so these could add up to constipation as well. And the main culprit here is children not having fruits and vegetables, specifically green leafy vegetables. Kids will try to stay away from these raw fruits and vegetables. So that is one of the reasons why constipation can take place. Dental caries completely depends on the sugar consumption and acidic food intake as well. So total sugar consumption is not just the critical factor for caries development, but also the kind of sweet that you have took. Okay, if it is sticky sweets, it can result in dental caries. Like for example, if you eat eclairs, okay, the chocolate like called eclairs. If you remember how sticky it is, okay, if the child indulges in this kind of sticky sweets, which will stick onto the teeth and it stays there. Okay, these are the situations. These are most of the food items that could lead to dental caries. Even beverages like cold drinks and soft drinks. These are also culprits of dental caries. Brushing the teeth before going to bed and after the meal, rinsing them out, at least rinsing them out after the meal should be encouraged, should become a habit in children as well. And try to encourage the children to eat as much as hard, raw, crisp food like carrots, cucumbers, apples. Okay. Obesity, prominent factor here is parents not paying attention to when the child is full and overfeeding the child. Okay, this is one of the prominent reasons why obesity, childhood obesity is seen. There are certain psychological factors also, and the child's body type, okay, like ectoderm, mesoderm. Okay, there are different body types in human beings as well. Endoderm, ectoderm, mesoderm, these are the different body types. So the childhood obesity could lead to adult obesity as well. If you remember, if those who have attended the obesity class, one theory of obesity is, if you have developed a lot of fat cells or adipose tissue in your young age because of childhood obesity, those fat tissues and adipose cells will not go anywhere. It will stay in your body. They don't disappear soon. Okay, it will stay in your body, putting you at the risk of adult obesity as well. So how can you prevent this childhood obesity? Do not try to force feed the child. When the child says fat cell theory, and when the child says that it does not want anything more, you have to stop it. When the child is hungry, encourage the child to ask for food. Okay. Not instilling in the child's mind that all the food that you have served on the plate has to be completed. So that is the reason why pre-portioning is very important. If the child is having some stress at home or at school, being bullied, okay, being bullied also is a reason that could lead to obesity. Try to avoid junk food as much as possible. This goes for the parents as well. Reducing the eating in front of television and computer, because people, not just children, but people also, adults also, tend to overeat when they are in front of computer, television, or smartphones. Skipping the breakfast could lead to obesity. And do not use food as reward. Whenever the child does something good, scores very good in school, or earns a good prize, okay, or shows positive behaviors, do not use food as a reward for it. And there are other factors also which leads to obesity in children. Urbanization. Most of the obese kids we find in urban India, city areas, not in rural India. Increased income in the household would also lead to obesity. Accessibility, not just availability. Accessibility to fast food is another reason. Low activity nowadays, gaming and everything is done in smartphones. Children do not like to go out and play, and that is also not encouraged by the parents as well. Okay, so that is one of the reasons why physical activity is not seen much in kids in these days as compared to older generations. And most of the obese children develop early puberty. Okay, that is young girls who get their first periods or they attain menarche at 8-year-old, 9-year-old. Okay, at such a young age, they also have a higher risk of developing obesity sooner. Hormonal imbalances also could lead to obesity. Infections. If a child is getting recurrent infections because of various other factors, infections can take place because of various other factors that could significantly lead to malnourishment in children. We have discussed this yesterday in yesterday's class, how infection and malnutrition is kind of a vicious cycle, how these two are interrelated. Okay, so kids who intermittently get infections or regularly get infections at least twice a month or once a month, they are infected by some or the other disease condition. There are high chances of them turning out to be malnourished. So is it clear about all the dietary problems seen in school children? So next, coming to the concept of packed lunches. The lunch box that the child takes to school, it should meet at least 1/3 of the daily requirement. Whatever is the daily caloric intake of the child, 1/3 of those calories should come from the lunch that the child takes to school. Okay. So it has become a necessity for all the school going children. Either the lunch period is too short for the children to go home and have lunch, that is not possible. That's the reason why packed lunches is what the child will take to school. Or in some schools, canteen is available. Lunches you do not have to give. The school provides for the lunch or midday meal. And it should be adequate both in terms of quality and quantity, whatever the child takes in form of packed lunch. And hygiene has to be met. The way how you clean the tiffin, how the hygiene of the packed lunches are kept, that is important. It should be convenient. It should not be expensive lunches. Easy to cook food. It should not have too much of over processing. Whatever the child takes for lunch, too much of processing it should not be there, because it will consume a lot of time for the household householder, whoever is preparing the lunch. So it should meet 1/3 of the daily requirement. All the 5 food groups should be included in the lunch as well. And though if the number of dishes may be less, for example, if it is just chapati and a sabzi or a curry, okay, with just these 2 recipes, maximum majority of the 5 food groups should be covered. Okay, you can have few raw vegetable or few slices of carrot and cucumber also, you can put it in the lunch box. So majority of the 5 food groups will be covered in that. Okay. One serving of green leafy vegetable is preferred, and try to encourage the child to have it. If the child does not have it, at least you can make a puree of green leafy vegetables and just incorporate it in your cooking, or put the puree of green leafy vegetables in the chapati dough that you make. Okay. The dough that you make, put the purees of vegetables into that and make chapati out of it. That is also a very good way to incorporate more vegetables into the child's diet. Try to have good quality protein. Try to give them good quality of protein. Milk or milk products can be given in the breakfast. You can't take milk at in a packed lunch form. So milk has to be given in the breakfast from home before the child leaves for the school. Paneer can be added into the paneer based dishes can be added into the tiffin. Tofu based dishes can also be given. Sprouted legumes can be given in lunch. Egg, if the school allows it, eggs can be included. Kids can be lactose intolerant as well. Okay, children can become lactose intolerant specifically after the age of 10. Avoid monotony in the lunchbox, like giving aloo parathas on a daily basis, or giving some besan chila or some achar or something on a daily basis. So every day a new recipe has to be given to the child. Do not keep repeating the dishes on a daily basis. See, for that particular reason of taking care of the calcium requirement. This is why in the starting few classes only we have mentioned at least 3 glasses of dairy product has to be given to the child. 2 glasses of milk, 1 cup of curd or buttermilk in the afternoon. That's how you can take care of the calcium content. Okay, and for calcium, milk is not just the only source. All the fruits, vegetables, whatever you grow from the soil, okay, fruits, vegetables, they are also really good sources of calcium as well. Not the best sources, but calcium is present in them. Okay, add more sesame seeds or chia seeds, okay, in their diet. Calcium content will be covered. Correct consistency has to be maintained, which means, for example, is it feasible for a child to take rasam rice as lunch option, or dal chawal or dal bath as lunch option? Can the child take it to the school? Because the consistency of that meal is not correct. Okay, whatever meal you are preparing for lunch, it should be in such a consistency that it is not too liquidy, so that it will come out of the tiffin box. It will uh, damage the bag, uniform, books in the bag. Okay, so consistency should be correct. It should not be too watery. It can leak out from the tiffin box. Chapatis can be covered in cloth so that it can retain the moisture. It will not get stiff and hard when it is time for the child to eat. And if you're preparing curd rice, okay, for lunch, try to prepare it with cold rice. And as soon as the child will bring the tiffin box from school, immediately it has to be cleaned, and encourage the child to wash the tiffin box properly. Okay, that is a good habit as well. Non-perishable items should be included in lunchbox, which means any food that is not going to go bad. Okay, that which means food that has subsies and all, which does not have too much of moisture, on which are on the drier side. Okay, these kind of non-perishable food has to be given. Anything that has too much of moisture can go bad easily. And if there are too many different items, try to pack it in small different tiffins, or try to get a tiffin box which has specific areas for specific food uh, food groups. Okay, containers which have demarcations and separations. Try to get those kind of tiffin box. Don't just get a single tin or single dabba. Okay, try to get the tiffin box which has specific container regions for it. Okay. Also, the lunch should be as simple as possible. Some examples they have given on page number 123, those who have the textbook. On page number 123, those who have the old textbook on page number 125. Examples of some simple lunches are given. Easy to open packages, cut up fruits, vegetables, rolled chapatis, which already has the sabzi with inside it, sandwiches. And the portion sizes should be such that within that 20 to 30 minutes of lunch break, whatever the child gets, within that 20 to 30 minutes, the child is able to finish it. Okay. Vegetable pulao, boiled egg, idli kurma, cheese sandwiches, khichdi, buttermilk. Okay. Buttermilk you cannot give for school, but khichdi and some other chutney. Then we have the school lunch program. So the school lunch program in the new textbook they have not given, but in the old textbook they have mentioned about school lunch programs, midday meal programs. We will discuss that as well because it will be a information for you. The school lunch program were started keeping in mind the social and economical advancement of our country. More urbanization and industrialization was taking place, and we see a lot of mothers stepping up in the workforce as well. Okay, working mothers, and which means that the children did not receive proper meals at home because mothers were also busy with their work. There could be some of the compromise that is taking place in the child's nutrition. Okay, so therefore a meal should be provided at school. Okay, so that is the reason why school lunch program had to be initiated, because it should not affect working mothers. The choice of a mother to work or not to work should not affect the child's nutrition. Okay, so the government had come up with school lunch program so that a one meal is given in the school, so that that particular nutritional coverage is covered for the child, irrespective of if the child has a working mother or not. Okay. So the main objectives of this school feeding program was to provide food for all the undernourished children and to improve their nutritional status, specifically the midday meal program and all. School enrollment will be increased, less dropouts in children it was seen, and making sure that the child is getting good eating habits, because at home when you try to force the child into eating certain things, the child will show tantrums. Okay, but if the child sees their best friend, their classmates eating the same food, what kind of change you will see in the child? Can anyone guess? Is it easy to bring about a good habit in the child uh, while making them see what their friends are doing, or is it easy to force them into a habit at home? What do you think is feasible for in childcare? If the parents are forcing at home, it automatically creates a negative relationship with food or that particular food. Okay, but when the child sees other kids indulging in a specific eating habits, okay, eating a specific food that this child personally didn't like, slowly it can reorient the child into good eating habits. Okay, just watching their peers, watching the classmates have a specific eating habit. Okay, and also try to incorporate nutritional education into curriculum. If you remember from your school days, you must have learned about vitamins, minerals, deficiencies of vitamins at a very young age, like fifth standard or sixth standard. It was because of the school lunch program. Try to encourage use of staple food, what is available in the locality. Okay, because which it is less expensive, it is more feasible. That is the reason why. Encourage the community also to participate in this feeding program, community charity, which is related to the school for making the school health program. Health cards are given from the government. This is an example of a school health card. The photo of the child, all the contact details of the child, and with this health card, it's we can keep in mind what is the height of the child every year, what was the weight of the child, what is the eyesight of the child. Okay, so these important parameters, these are the vital health parameters of the children while growing. Okay, so to see that which child is lagging behind, which child is not able to attain a specific height or maintain a specific weight, which children are suffering from early onset of blurring of vision. That could be a reason of vitamin A deficiency. These things can be treated at a very initial stage. So because of this health card, you can completely isolate the children who are deficient and give them that extra care, or talk to their parents and give them the extra care. Then we have the midday meal program. So you can see here the coverage of midday meal program in India. And it was introduced in the year 1960s somewhere in the Tamil Nadu government, by the Tamil Nadu government. Later, because of its success, it is adopted throughout India. So in this program, children above the age of 5 who are studying in a corporation school, government school, or government aided schools also, they are given free midday meal for at least 200 years, 200 days of a year. Okay, and this in this program, 100 gram of wheat or rice, whatever is the staple food of that particular state, is given. 15 gram of dal, 1 gram of oil, and 20 paise worth of vegetable is given. Okay, the 20 paise worth is the old statistics. Now it is much expensive. Okay, but these are the for one child. This is what the government has planned. 100 gram of what cereal, grains, and 15 gram 15 gram of pulse or legumes, whatever is available. 1 gram of oil for every child is given. Eggs, in certain states eggs are given, certain states eggs are not given. But if you come from a state where eggs are given in the midday meal program, thrice a week eggs should be given. Again, midday meal program is not a substitute to your to the meal that is given at home. It's not a substitute, it's just a supplementary nutrition to the child's growth. In school syllabus as well, changes have been put into school syllabus. That is, what is a good food safety practices. And this school syllabus change is aided by there is an illustrated book like this. This is the kind of school syllabus food book which is given by FSSAI. FSSAI stands for Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. So yellow books are given at different levels for young children, pre-primary age group, primary age group, and higher secondary age group. 3 different levels of nutrition book is given. It's a simple manual, age appropriate content, pictures. It's a colorful book. Okay. The main guidelines which is covered in these books are: what are the safe food practices based on hygiene, personal hygiene? What are the cleanliness habits that everyone has to follow? What is the importance of a balanced diet, consuming balanced diet? And what is a good lunch box or tiffin? Okay, how does a good tiffin look like? Okay, what should be there in a good lunch box? So this kind of information, this book, the child can take back at home. Even the parents can learn at their uh, at whatever level it is given. Okay, and also how to prevent nutritional deficiency specifically in school children. Those guidelines are also given in these books. So this is funded by FSSAI. So next, coming to assignment, here we come to the end of this chapter. Is it clear to all? If you have any queries regarding the school health and school children food nutrition requirements, please mention the chat box.